Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit light. We don't want to overblow
Hey, there we
here
go.
on the right
there
side.
we go. That looks better.
Oh, it always goes dark to light. Just like in most video games. Everything starts off dark, then you have to go with the light. And
not
move everything.
Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That's the opposite. You go into the dark world, the second half. Spoilers.
Yes. Spoilers. All right. So let's get started here then.
Yeah. Why not?
3, 2. And we're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Media Boat Podcast, your weekly episodes for movies, TV, music, and video games. Not necessarily in that order. My name is Mike. His name is Matt.
My name is Matt. His name is Mike. Thank you for joining us at the Media Boat Podcast. All of what he said is true. Today is, September the 10th, 2022. Welcome to September again. We were in September last week as well, but still.
Yes.
We're back in person here. Again, conquering all the diseases in the world, as we always do. Nothing can stop the Media Boat Podcast train.
Not after 348 episodes.
No, it is. We are currently in the midst of apparently the biggest heat wave in California history, so that's been fun. Today we've cooled off a little bit thanks to a little rain coming in.
The Baja
thanks
Blast.
To the Baja Blast, as you said.
Yes.
There's Mountain Dew everywhere. It's disgusting.
Just the Baja storm coming up.
Yeah.
And just pelting us with rain right now.
So
much needed rain.
Much needed rain. So let's get into it. Why don't we?
Yep. And we start our episode with the music section.
Yes.
And we start the music with the Billboard Hot 100. And your hottest single in the land right now is this Heat Wave. Oh my God, it's so hot.
Yes, but besides that,
As It Was by Harry Styles.
You know, I was actually thinking about that. What did Glass Animals know that they didn't tell us?
Because that was last year's song?
No, that was this year.
No, that was last year.
No, that was this year.
That was very last year.
No, it was very this year. Dude.
It's been a long year then.
It's been a long year. But yes, that was number one in like March.
Okay. Sure.
It's been a long year.
It's been a long year.
Anyway.
At 2, Bad Habit by Steve Lacy.
Yes, not Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran. Very different.
Yes, very different. At 3, About Damn Time by Lizzo. Coming in at 4, staying at number 4, never moving at number 4, even though it's trying to Running Up That Hill, A Deal with God by Kate Bush. And rounding out your top 5, Sunroof by Nikki Yor and Daisy.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but that is your new entrant into the top 5 this week.
Thank you, TikTok.
I guess, maybe.
As for your albums chart, your Billboard 200.
Yes.
At number 1, DJ Khaled with Another One at number 1. But he didn't do it. God did.
Yeah. My favorite part of the VMAs was when DJ Khaled was a presenter. He could not for the life of him stop saying God did.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of his like introduction, he was like, it's like, who did that? God did. It's over and over and
just
over
to hammer it into your head.
So it's his,
God did.
It's his like motto right now. So yes, God did.
More than another one?
More than another one.
All right, well, he's got a number 1.
Were we the best music?
Well, he's got a number 1 album on his hands there.
Yes.
Congratulations. You weren't beat out by anyone dropping a surprise release.
Unlike last year.
Coming in at number 2, dropping to number 2, Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny.
Yes.
Coming in at 3, Between 1 and 2, 11th mini album by Twice.
K-pop group. I now know what they look like because they were nominated at the VMAs.
At 4, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar.
That is back in the top 5 thanks to a tour bump. Kendrick Lamar actually just passed through town last night.
Yes,
he was at the Honda Center.
Yep, he's going to stay on the West Coast here, end up in the Crypt next week.
Yes.
And then head off to Europe.
Yes,
the European leg.
But yeah, so the album is enjoying a little bit of an uptick with people either attending or coming home from the concert, ready to listen to the album again.
Speaking of listening to the album again,
yes.
At number 5, Dangerous, the double album by Morgan Wallen.
It won't die.
All right. If you didn't like any of those albums, especially number 5, we have new releases for you.
Big release week.
Yes, lots of things are dropping, including Bomb Pink by
Born. That's B-O-R-N.
Bomb. They're Bomb. Born Pink by Blackpink.
Yes.
Asphalt Meadows by Death Cab for Cutie.
Yes,
that Death Cab for Cutie. Solidaritime by Gogol Bordello. You should probably like gargle my mouth right there.
Yeah. I'm really testing your voices.
Order of Romance by Jessica Hoop. Yessie by Jesse Reyes.
Or is it Yessie Reyes?
Yessie by Yessie Reyes. Marcus Mumford by Marcus Mumford of Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
The solo debut, self-titled. Yes. We also have People Helping People by No Age.
Those are the luckiest people in the world.
Yeah, people with no age.
Sure.
The Hardest Part by Noah Cyrus.
Is being Noah Cyrus and not Miley Cyrus.
Yes. Hold That Girl by Rina Sawayana.
Yeah.
Autofiction by Suede. Expert in a Dying Field by The Beths.
One of my albums I've been looking forward to all year. I'm very excited to hear it. The
Mars Volta by The Mars Volta.
Yeah, I guess another album after a brief hiatus over a few years. I guess they went away and now they're coming back.
Spark, in all caps, by Whitney.
Yep.
And lastly, Shepherd Head by Young Jesus.
Yes, Young Jesus. All right, so for music news today, we have a downer and an absurd story. So
yeah, you didn't really go with the biggest story, I thought. I mean, I'll just mention it right now. I thought you were going to go with the Weeknd story.
So I feel like that story takes all of 2 seconds to say, which is during an LA concert, he lost his voice and he has to reschedule those shows. That's literally that story. So I was like, if we can talk about it in 3 seconds, it doesn't need to be written up.
I guess you're right. I mean, now this means that I can actually go to the second show whenever he decides to reschedule.
Yeah, that's true. If you can.
If I can.
Yeah, no, these were the two stories that were on my radar the most this week.
All right. Starting with Lewis Capaldi.
Yeah, remember him? The kind of normal-looking dude that had a hit out of nowhere with Someone You Love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's in the news this week.
Yes, because he shared the news of his Tourette syndrome diagnosis, which is a neurological disorder that causes involuntary and repetitive movements and sounds. During an Instagram Live, the singer told fans that he initially noted, quote, "My shoulder twitches when I am excited, happy, nervous, or stressed, and thought it was some horrible degenerative disease before he sought out an official diagnosis. Quote, it is something I am living with," he added, and also explained that he wanted to tell audiences about the diagnosis because he didn't want people to think I was taking cocaine or something, end quote.
So yeah, good thing that he got this diagnosed. Good thing that he got ahead of it, so that way rumors would not fly.
Yep.
But yeah, thoughts go out to Lewis Capaldi. That's not a fun thing to deal with, especially as a performer who has to get out there and do his thing. That being said, though, I feel like we're in an era right now, thanks to TikTok and social media, where more people are understanding Tourette's. I feel like it was kind of a joke for decades. People just associated with, oh yeah, it's when you swear a lot. It's like, no, it turns out it's much more than that. And now we're finally getting to a point where people are more open about this, and it's describing the actual symptoms of Tourette's and getting that out there. So yeah, hopefully Lewis Capaldi gets the adequate treatment he needs for it, and he continues living with it in the best possible way. Because yeah, that sucks. That sucks to have thrown at you in the middle of your career.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what this will say about any possible live performances?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, from what I understand, though, is if it's mostly an idle thing. Like if you're just kind of sitting around, it's more likely to happen. If you're active and doing things, I don't think it's as common. But again, I'm not an expert on the field.
Right.
So yeah, it's interesting that he's getting out there and talking about it, because I think it's good to talk about these things.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of like being someone like in the spotlight.
Yes.
That you can voice these not just these degenerative diseases, but you can raise a voice that others might not be able to into a larger audience.
Yes, it's absolutely true.
Yep. Speaking of raising voices into a larger audience.
Okay, so first note about this. We will, in fact, talk about the Venice Film Festival more later. But before we do that, in the film section,
it's a crossover.
Let's talk about some weird thing that music Twitter glommed onto this week.
Okay. So, in the upcoming film Don't Worry, Darling, which had a kind of a big showing outcase at the Venice Film Festival.
Yes.
Stars one Harry Styles.
Correct.
Yes, that Harry Styles from Eternals cutscene. And nothing else.
And a music career. But we might want to mention that.
Yeah, the guy who wore the dress on Vogue.
Yeah, that guy.
Yes, that guy. Well, he has been at the center of some rumor mills going around, with a video clip going viral on social media that appears to show Harry Styles spitting on Chris Pine as he takes a seat at Monday night's premiere. However, the act was not clearly discernible.
That RN gets you every time.
Gets me every time.
Do we need to make the font bigger?
Nah. You just need to stop writing RN words. It wasn't discernible in the recordings and has since been disputed by representative for Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Quote, "This is a ridiculous story, a complete fabrication, and the result of an odd online illusion that is clearly deceiving and allows for foolish speculation." That is, of course, the voice of Chris Pine's representative.
I was going to say, I like this character that you just created for the representative for Chris Pine.
Just to be clear, Harry Styles did not spit on Chris Pine. There is nothing but respect between these two men, and any suggestion otherwise is a blatant attempt to create drama that simply does not exist. So a source close to the Venice Film Festival also told Variety that there was no tension around Styles and Chris Pine during the premiere, and that was a potential spitting incident was flagged by no one during the actual event.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that the internet took and ran with it. Of course, he didn't actually spit on Chris Pine. It was an optical illusion. There's no beef between them. Yes. It's just that the internet likes beef, and so they will create beef where none exists.
Yes, it's the lack of spatial distance in a two-dimensional video.
Yeah, exactly. It's just stuff that they like to create things where they're not, just to spice up the story, make it funny. Also, Harry Styles is big right now. Anything about Harry Styles is going to go viral and going to go and spread fast. I bet Leah Michelle is happy that the spotlight has been off of her for a day.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Olivia Wilde's happy that people are just talking about Don't Worry, Darling.
That's the other thing is that there's the other layer here with the Olivia Wilde stuff that I'm sure makes this movie and everything to do with press junket about this movie be bigger than it would be otherwise. And so that's why this has gotten a little bit of a magnifying glass on it as opposed to other things.
You're referring to Chris Pine's character and his basis.
It's just a disaster. Everything about that movie seems wild. And so
it does, and I'm planning on seeing it opening night if I can. I need to see. I need to know. Is it really this much of a either train wreck or masterpiece? It can go one way or the other.
I've had my money on the former, not the latter. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on.
Like I said, we will talk more about Venice Film Festival later.
Yes, later in this podcast. But first, we listened to some stuff.
Yeah, we both watched a bit of, this is not an album, but it was a television experience.
Yes.
That we both watched a bit of. I didn't stay until the end because, oh my God, it never stopped.
Oh, it was just going off.
Yeah.
On and on.
But I watched a good chunk of it. So what we're referring to is, of course, there was a Taylor Hawkins tribute concert live from Wembley Stadium in London. That was, of course, in honor of the late drummer for the Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins. So basically, it was a big blowout where Dave Grohl and the rest of the Foo Fighters invited all of their friends and idols, bands that are either currently bands or were bands 30 years ago, or bands that have been bands for decades, or friends and family members, children, anybody you could guess, to come up and play songs in honor of Taylor Hawkins. So this included legacy bands doing their own performances. It also included guest singers or drummers or guitarists from other bands coming to join the Foo Fighters to play songs. And all the way up to people on video that couldn't be there telling their stories about Taylor Hawkins, including Billie Eilish, Elton John, etc. So yeah, I enjoyed what I watched a bit of. I watched about an hour and a half of it, and yeah, there was a lot of really great performances in there. A lot of cool people that aren't really in the limelight anymore, like all the members of Queen and 2 members of Rush, and like people who you don't see every day because they've either retired or they slowed down their touring schedule. But then I think the moment that the internet liked the most, though, came towards the end, where family got involved. So briefly, Dave Grohl had his daughter sing for a while, but then Taylor Hawkins' sons also participated. His older son, which couldn't get off the stage, and a younger son who shocked everybody by his drumming skills. And yeah, I think the internet just fell in love with that moment.
Yeah, that was one moment that was playing everywhere last weekend since this took place last Saturday.
Right.
You couldn't get away from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Taylor Hawkins tribute concert. It's available online. I think you can find the full thing on YouTube.
And this is just part 1. As part 2 is an LA concert that will come soon.
That is on, I want to say the 23rd.
Yeah.
Or the
24th, maybe?
It's one of these. It's somewhere. It's later this month.
Okay.
It's weird. It's on a Tuesday.
Oh, it's on a Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah.
And that will include many of the same guests, but also include new guests, specific guests for California.
Right. Specifically for LA. We're teasing from LA rather than this one, which was more UK centric because it was at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah. So I think the consensus I saw online, which is people are like, why don't we do more of these? Because it was cool to see all these people in one place. It was cool to celebrate a life.
You mean more tribute concerts?
Yeah, more tribute concerts. Okay. I think that was my takeaway because you know what's cool? Music, and it was a cool thing with a lot of famous extremely talented people in the music industry in one place. You can't ask for better stuff if you're a fan of music.
I mean, this is why people like going to music festivals.
Yes, exactly. It was like a festival on one stage, and that you didn't have to pay to get into, and it's wonderful. So yeah. And of course, it was a great tribute to the late Taylor Hawkins. And I think everybody involved was happy to be there and really put their all into it. It was a fun thing to check out.
Yep. And if you couldn't attend, you can also contribute yourself by going to Taylor, the website on the Foo Fighters. They'll have a link for Taylor Hawkins' website.
Yeah.
So you can contribute there.
Yeah. So it was very, very
cool. Contribute there.
Yep. Very, very cool.
Yep. But there's an actual album that I was able to listen to.
So you listened to our Media Boat favorite, ? The Legend, John.
Yes, which I have written out here on the docket. Legend, John. Yeah, so he put out an album titled Legend, self-titled in a way.
Not to be confused with the Bob Marley thing.
Yes. And it's very R&B heavy. Not a whole lot of actual John Legend on the piano, but rather John Legend's just silky smooth voice. I know you hate the phrase baby making music.
I do.
But that's exactly what this is. This is going to get you in the mood. This is going to get you all hot and steamy and bothered with your loved one.
Oh boy.
It's exactly what you think it is, just based off that description. It's very sexual in tone, very sexual in nature. Lots of, I'm going to rub my fingers all over your body.
All right.
Okay. No, stop. You get the picture I'm painting here.
I get the idea.
All right, yeah. So that's Legend by John Legend.
Is it good? Did you enjoy it?
I mean, I'll tell you in 9 months if it's good.
Gross. I don't need to know that. Move on.
All right.
So, yeah, it's a John Legend record. Sounds like what you're saying is, like, if you largely like John Legend's music, you're going to have a good time here.
Yes, or if you're going on a date night. And
all right.
These are to set the mood. It's mood-setting music.
Let's move on.
All right.
Before I change my mood.
All right, let's move on into video games.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we start video games with new releases.
We do.
Starting with Metal: Hellsinger.
Yes.
For PS5, Xbox Series X, and the PC.
So this thing, if you are not aware of it, is a first-person shooter that is to the tune, I guess you could say, of metal music, where you have to time your shots in the game to the beat of the metal that is happening in the background. To add to this interest here to metal fans, actual metal band lead singers have offered their vocal talents to this game's soundtrack. So you will hear, I think, original songs, not songs from those bands, but original metal songs performed by singers that you are familiar with. So this includes the dude from System of a Down. This includes some other famous dudes. I'm not a metal guy, so I can't really list off the list of performers here. But from what I can tell is fans of that genre, there's a lot to like here. And guess what? I like rhythm games and I like shooters. So I might check this out, even though I don't really care for metal. I think it's an interesting concept. And if well done, I think this could be a blast. And it is on Game Pass if you have Game Pass. But note here, as it suggests, Xbox Series X only. So you won't be able to play this on Xbox One. Just a PSA for those people who are still stuck in last generation. You might have to wait to play Metal Hellsinger unless you have a PC.
I mean, you might actually like this game.
Maybe.
Because you played Neon White, which is a speedrunning shooter game. Right,
yeah.
And you love that game.
Yeah, so it could be a neat little twist on the shooter formula. Is it the first shooter to have rhythm-based combat? No. From what I understand, this idea has been done, but not with this kind of budget and with this kind of talent. So it's very interesting. I'm interested to check this out.
Right. We also have Outer Wilds for the PS5 and Xbox Series X.
That is
the new gen bump.
Yes, classic, very well-reviewed game. A lot of people's game of the year from that year. Getting the next gen bump. I believe this version will include the DLC that came out last year as well.
Yep. We also have Wayward Strand out for everything.
Yes. I don't know what that is.
And I want to say this is NBA
SBK? No, it is some sort of racing game. I don't know what it is. It's called SBK 22. Maybe Google it, find out what kind of racing it is.
Because I thought the NBA 2K...
No, that was last week. We talked about NBA 2K last week. That is out. Now, what is SBK 22? Let's see.
Oh, it's the biking game.
It's a motocross.
Yeah, well, not motocross, because they're on an actual
superbike. It's superbike.
Yes.
Right. Okay, that is your superbike racing game. So there you go.
Yep.
SBK 2022.
I guess what the SB stands for.
Yes, so superbike.
All right. So those are your new releases.
Yes.
And let's get into the video game news. And we start with, and our main story is
bits.
The bits.
So many little bits this week that I rounded all up for you.
Yep. Starting with Skydance New Media announces a Marvel project. This was during D23.
Correct.
Where Marvel Disney had a showcase.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was a third. Lucasfilm.
Oh, yeah.
Also there.
All the Disney properties.
All the Disney properties were there to announce new games, except for Kingdom Hearts, but I won't get into that. Yeah. Even though they put it on the poster, they put it in the trailer. They said, hey, we're going to make some announcements here on the different... Okay.
Yeah, they did.
All right, let me get off my soapbox here. So they announced a new game that will feature Captain America, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Some
other people I didn't recognize.
One of the Milaje Dora Milaje.
Whatever that means.
The bodyguards for the Black Panther Wakanda universe.
Yeah.
And then a World War II soldier. There's no official title for this game.
Not yet.
But they rounded it off as King Captain Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
And kind of referencing like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
But
so 2 notes about this. One, it, as you mentioned, because you said World War II, it does take place in the past. This is not the Black Panther we're familiar with. This is his grandfather, I believe.
Yes.
And also, note on the industry side of things, if Skydance New Media sounds familiar, that is because this is Amy Hennig's studio. Amy Hennig, formerly narrative director of Naughty Dog games, such as the Uncharted games. Famous narrative director, worked on a lot of very important games, narrative-wise, in the games industry in the past. So yeah, this means that this will probably be a very story-heavy experience. So if you are a fan of those characters, that era of Marvel lore, this could be really cool. And I think a lot of people will be looking forward to it. However, it also seems incredibly ambitious. So if this doesn't come out for a few years, don't be surprised. Yeah. This might be a early work in progress.
It definitely seems like it. But World War II Captain America.
Yeah. So if you like that, if you like Captain America 1, this might have something good for you.
And specifically Captain America 1.
Yes.
All right. They also announced that Marvel's Midnight Suns will officially be released this year, despite the rumors that it would be delayed.
Right, yeah. Well, there wasn't a rumor. It was confirmed that it was going to be delayed. It's just that when they delayed it, it was given an indefinite date, and so people assumed 2023. But turns out they're out there talking about it will be this year, this holiday. This is, by the way, if you forgot, Midnight Suns is the XCOM Marvel game, the strategy game. So, could be cool.
They also premiered a new game, or rather teased a new game, Tron Identity, which is supposed to be the first in a new series of Tron-based games.
Yes, this comes from Bithell Games, which is Mike Bithell's studio. He's a game industry veteran. So it's cool seeing a well-liked team take on Tron, a franchise that we thought for sure as of last year that Disney had outright abandoned. It seems like sequel plans and game plans had all been thrown out the door from rumors, at least suggesting that was the case.
The rumor was that they were going to work on a new Tron because there was a new technological leap. But they pushed that back because Avatar was going to come out this year. So they're going to see how that plays.
So the question then now is this part of a larger Tron renaissance? Do we see more Tron in 2023?
Oh, you mean a Tronaissance?
Yes, a Tronaissance. I think the world is ready for more Tron. I'm excited for Tron. And you know what are good? Tron video games, generally. So, this could be cool.
Yeah, this could be cool. But there were other things announced outside of what happened at Disney.
Yeah, that was your Disney block. There are other things.
I mean, they did announce the other stuff that we already knew was coming out, including Speed Force Racing.
Oh, yeah.
Or Speed Storm Racing. It's coming out eventually.
They also mentioned that they're doing a remaster of the Gargoyles Super Nintendo game.
For some reason. In line with their other remakes as well.
Right.
Disney,
platformer based on the Mickey Mouse shorts, which actually sounds like it could be cool.
Yep. Coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
That's a 4-player couch co-op game.
Neat idea. It's almost like they saw Cuphead and were like, we could do that.
Hey, we could do that.
That's our stuff. Wait a minute.
Yep. They also heavily promoted Disney Mirrorverse, which we talked about here on this podcast. And yes, I am still playing.
Yes.
And they gave a release date for Marvel Snap, the card-based game. It's card-based trading game, collector's game, coming out in October. So
there you go.
I've already pre-ordered it, and we'll talk about it when we get there.
Cool.
I think that's about everything.
But outside of Disney, what else happened here?
Square Enix was supposed to announce Kingdom Hearts.
All right.
Other news that's not based off the D23 announcement.
No Disney.
Yes, I think we're done with the Disney announcements. Stalker 2 delayed indefinitely, and refunds were issued.
So, for context, Stalker 2, the sequel to Stalker, a Chernobyl-based, immersive sim. You could call it an immersive sim. A shooter that's based on like trying to traverse that area and all the creepy mutants that you have to shoot and deal with. So this sequel was announced way back when they were showing off the first footage of the Xbox Series X, and was supposed to be a showcase for the Series X and for Unreal Engine 4. In fact, it was the first confirmed Unreal Engine 5 game, and it was supposed to be debuting with the release of the engine. Since then, it's been delayed over and over again. The engine has been released, and yet still no Stalker 2. Well, now it's gotten to the point where they don't even know when it's going to come out. They've moved the release date to who knows. And yes, that means that people who have pre-ordered the game expecting it to come out are now being issued refunds. Not a good look if you are Microsoft and you're missing yet another one of your big tentpole releases for your console. It's kind of a bad look.
So we're just right back to Iron Scale all over again. Or whatever that game was called.
I forget. But yeah, it's just not a great look. And fans of this game are probably disappointed that this thing just the goalposts just keep moving back.
If someone hasn't made this video already, someone needs to go back to that Xbox Series X launch release.
Yes, and see what games actually
came out and when they actually came out compared to the actual Xbox release.
That's a good point, because you know what else has been delayed to hell and back? The sequel to the Senua's Sacrifice, which was also shown as a big Unreal Engine 5 showcase for the Xbox Series X. That's also still not out.
And then all the constant recent delays with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I mean, that at least is a game that is a product you can buy.
Yes.
But yeah, it does not have half the features it said it was going to upon launch. So yeah, good point. Is it really out?
That video has to exist somewhere. If not, someone make it.
Jeez, rough. Anyways.
EA is in the news.
Yep.
Yes, that EA.
Yes.
Where they announced a new team for Battlefield. The new game will have a campaign led by former Halo co-creator Marcus Lehto.
Yeah, this is probably a good move. Battlefield has been in a weird spot. The last few games have completely whiffed. Fans are upset about the state of the franchise. So they're letting a different team, a new team within the EA ecosystem, develop a new Battlefield game. And focusing on the campaign again, which is an interesting angle considering the Battlefield series in the past has been associated mostly with its multiplayer mode. So whether or not this works or not, we'll have to wait and see. But at least going with a known name, known for creating good campaigns and first-person shooters, is smart. I just hope it works for them because I would love for Battlefield to be good again.
But do we want EA to be good?
It's a better question. We didn't talk about it because it was a rumor, but EA's had a wild year.
Yes.
Last week, you had the whole scare of them almost being bought, and then surprise, surprise, no, that's not actually happening.
Don't worry, that's still the rumor going around that they're going to be bought by like Amazon or Disney or someone.
It was Amazon that was the rumor. That ended up not being true. So who knows? EA is definitely at a weird spot right now, and anything can happen. But hey, good news for Battlefield, I guess. Maybe.
Another news: Xbox did confirm that Call of Duty will remain on PlayStation after Activision acquisition for, quote, several more years. Sony says offer is inadequate and argues the series' importance.
So this is this week's edition of Xbox and PlayStation beef. So basically, this is still Microsoft trying to defend their position for the Activision acquisition. Basically trying to say, hey, no, it's not anti-competitive. We're going to still put Call of Duty on other consoles. Because that's been Sony's point with this whole thing, is their whole stuck in their craw is Call of Duty. It's the only thing that they are really pushing on. Because they think that because of the recognition that the Call of Duty brand has in the media space, not even just video games, just in pop culture IP, they're saying that is important enough that should be a big red flag for this acquisition. Microsoft's over here saying but no, we're still going to put the game on PlayStation, as they said, for several years. Of course, several is a word that's open to interpretation, and Sony decided to read that as 3. And so they're out there basically in the press saying, no, 3 years is not enough. We need better than that because that means that they have a deadline.
That means next console generation, it will have the only place you can play is on the new console for Xbox.
The other wrinkle here is Microsoft has been very clear that they intend on releasing Call of Duty on Game Pass. So another point of contention for Sony, because that means that people in the Xbox ecosystem are automatically going to play more Call of Duty than people in the Sony ecosystem, kind of no matter what. And so they view that as anti-competitive. So overall, I'm not really sure where I sit with this. I think Sony is being a little ridiculous because I don't think this means 3 years. I think Microsoft is going to, why would they leave money on the table? Of course, they're going to continue putting a series as big as Call of Duty on PlayStation platforms and PC. There's no reason for them to not do that. But that being said, also, competition is good. And so it's probably best that this doesn't go through. This is probably best for the industry if Activision does remain independent and not owned by a console owner. I agree with both of those. I can have both of those thoughts. It's just that I honestly think at this point, it seems like it's inevitability. I think this deal goes through.
You want to know what else is an inevitability?
What?
A better game than Call of Duty coming around.
That's the other thing, is that a lot of critics of what Sony had to say also said, but you guys have an opportunity now that you own Bungie to create something better. You have first-person shooters. Not like Call of Duty is the only competitive multiplayer first-person shooter in the business. You have the option to make a competitor. Why don't you just put resources into making something that is better than Call of Duty?
But why put money into our resources when we can have Microsoft put money into their resources? Right. We just take the game.
Why would we spend money when we don't have to?
Exactly.
Is the argument Sony's making, because Sony is not Microsoft.
You're saying it's a business move?
Yeah, it's a business move. Because that's the thing, is that it's very easy to think Sony, global multinational corporation. Maybe they have money. Surely, that's the thing though. The PlayStation division does not actually have as much money as people think they do, and so compare them to Xbox, which is obviously in a spending mood. They've been buying stuff all over the place. They have the money that Sony doesn't.
$72 billion acquisition.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a complicated beef, but it is a beef nonetheless, and it will likely continue. As like I said, it seems that there is nothing big enough to stop this snowball from rolling. So I think this is happening. And I think we'll know sooner than later.
It's just also the continued beef between PlayStation and Xbox.
I mean, it's always going to be there. Just if you're a fan, just don't make this your life. Because that's my recommendation. Don't make the console war. Don't identify yourself with a console. It's a bad look. It's 2022. I don't know. Pick up another hobby. Go surfing or something. I don't know. Try something new. Anyways,
we have a couple of accessory updates.
Yes.
The Xbox Elite Series 2 core controller was announced, which will be $50 cheaper than the current Series 2. It'll be white.
Yes.
And will lack the back of controller bumpers.
So yeah, the Elite Series 2 was Microsoft's Pro controller. It was basically the equivalent of that Sony Edge controller that just got announced. It was pretty expensive though, and a lot of people complained about the build quality. Microsoft got out there with this core version, which, as it mentioned, is cheaper, different color, and doesn't have all the full paddle attachments that the proper Series Elite 2 does.
The trigger adapters.
But they also said this is explicitly to address some of the build quality issues people had with the previous Elite controller. A lot of people are saying that the sticks get loose faster than some of the existing sticks on the normal controllers, which kind of made a lot of people angry, or like charges don't stay. They're not very well made from a lot of people have it. I have an Elite Series 2. I like it. It has not failed on me. However, I'm not somebody who plays video games on my Xbox every single day, which might be part of that.
Added wear and tear.
Less wear and tear for me than maybe somebody who, say, does this as a job, or somebody who plays with their friends every night kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm not necessarily testing it in the way that some of these other people are.
Aggressive testing.
Having a cheaper option, this is the version I would have bought if it had been available, because I actually don't have the bumpers attached to mine because I think they get in the way. So yeah, I think this is a good option to have in the marketplace. I think it's always smart to have a cheaper alternative to these things. So people who are looking to upgrade from the normal controller, the core seems like a no-brainer. Seems like a really cool product to have.
Yep. And just in case you haven't bought a Switch already,
yes,
with the new Scarlet and Violet Pokemon releases, you can get a new OLED Switch model with the new games.
Yeah, as you probably assumed, the Joy-Cons are Scarlet and Violet, respectively, on both sides, and there is very pretty art of the legendaries on the side of your of the dock for the Switch. It's a very nice-looking unit, and if I didn't already have Switch, I may consider it. But yeah, it's the OLED model, which is nice for people who are waiting for more OLEDs to come in stock. So yeah, very cool for Pokemon fans.
Or if you're looking for a good Christmas gift.
Yes, there you go.
And lastly, today, or at least later today, as of this recording, Ubisoft will have their Ubisoft Forward announcements, announcing the upcoming games in their catalog, including Assassin's Creed, what was it, Mirage, I think?
Assassin's Creed Mirage is the one that's been confirmed.
Yes.
Some other mystery Assassin's Creed products. Maybe some other things in the Ubisoft
Watch_Dogs 4.
Yeah, maybe some Watch Dogs, maybe some Ghost Recon. We'll see some Tom Clancy up in here.
Yep.
Maybe Just Dance 2023. That's gotta be something they talk about, right?
But that's not the news we're going to talk about right here. No. Instead, it's a money acquisition.
Yeah, of course.
For 10 cents, they purchased a... Wait, let me see. No. Company Tencent has purchased a 49% stake in Ubisoft.
As that number sounds, this is a big deal. This is just shy of a majority stake of this company. It is not Tencent buying Ubisoft. They need a couple more percentage points for that.
Yes.
This is just barely not doing that. But it means that this is a huge investment for the Chinese company Tencent for Ubisoft. This makes sense considering the last year of reporting we've done about Ubi. They've been in a mood to be bought. Is basically they've been looking for suitors.
They've been letting go of additional studios that were attached.
They're also in a weird place artistically. A lot of their games recently have not hit in the way they wanted them to. The last big success they had was with Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which did decent because, of course, it's an Assassin's Creed game. But everything else has been a big miss for them. They've jumped into like those zones of Battle Royale and MOBA and then have had to come back out of them because they didn't hit. They've been trying live games. They've been trying games in the Tom Clancy universe like Ghost Recon that have been canceled. Rainbow Six is in a weird spot because Extraction did not do as well as they wanted it to do. They're in a weird zone. And so now is the time to get some money, in there to try to jumpstart the company again, which is what they seem to be wanting to do in today's forward production. So next week, we will probably recap what happens later today in Ubisoft Forward, all that Assassin's Creed news and everything else that they say. But yeah, it's a transitional time for Ubisoft. It'll be really interesting to see what goes forward. Maybe we'll even see Beyond Good and Evil 2. No? Anyone remembers that? What's Joseph Gordon-Levitt doing? Is he around? Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Isn't it Aisha Taylor or Tyler?
Aisha Tyler was always the person that they had hosting their
exactly.
production. I don't know if she's involved in today's Forward, since it's a live stream and not a live event.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know.
All right. Well, that's it for video game bits.
There's a lot of news.
A lot of bits. All right, so we have some thoughts.
Yeah, mostly you.
Did you end up wrapping up immorality?
Immorality? That is what you called it?
Yeah, immorality.
Immortality.
Oh, whatever.
I mean, I did not play a whole lot more than I played last week. But like I said, I more or less know what that game's thing is. Did you end up finishing it?
So, after we talked about last week,
yes.
We had our spoilers at the very end.
You sent me a very funny text.
Yes, what do you mean there's sound?
Okay, so let's do this now. I'm going to clap, and I'm going to say, if you do not want, again, just like last week, if you don't want any spoilers, mechanic or story spoilers about immortality, fast forward 10 minutes. All right.
Go. All right. So, what I did notice heavily is that anytime there was a sex scene or a violent scene, that automatically kind of triggered my brain to say, like, hey,
there's something here.
There's going to be something here, so let's run it back.
Okay.
Rather than something being like either talking. It was like that, like the sex, the violence, or any like religious connotation, which kind of heavily leading to the first film.
Right, yes.
Of Ambrosia.
Which is why they're Ambrosio. And yeah, which is why there's so many damn clips from the first movie.
Yes. But then as you go into the other films, then it's a lot more of the action in it. I really liked a lot of the framing here. I think the direction in this game is really good and really smart and done really, really well. I just don't know if the story itself is sufficient enough to hold within calling itself a video game.
So yes, to circle back to the conversation we had last week. So you're seeing now that you've unlocked this third layer of story, it seems like you are not satisfied with it.
Yes.
Right.
I think I was able to watch through all the extra clips. Not just in the black and white, but also in the actual filming version.
The ones that are replacing the
characters and the actors, yes.
So now, what's your theory about why that is happening? What do you think that means?
So, couple of theories is that either they are angels and demons, because there's a lot of like representation of like Adam and Eve and Snake in that scene. But then it goes on to become more than just that representation of biblical representation. In that it's trying to live forever by living on screen in these roles, that because they put life to celluloid, that you become this immortal. Sorry. They're immoral because they're killing people and having sex.
That's fair.
And
that's fair. Oh yeah, sex. So immoral.
Lots of sex. Yes. Dr. Lee leaned over and was like, what are you watching?
Just watching porn in there?
Just scrubbing porn. Just scrubbing porn. That because like some of like their life, their soul, these like angelic beings are put onto celluloid into film, that if they become immortalized in these films, even though the film itself may not be released, the actual like participation and capturing of these events essentially helps helps the namesake of immortality.
So yeah, I think we're more or less on the same page. Where I'm a little split on is how much of this is metaphor and how much of this is no, actually this character is really this person now. See, before I did some sleuthing on the internet to get other people's opinion, I assumed all of it was metaphor. I basically was like, oh, okay, this scene, like, okay, I'm going to give you a specific example. I hope this isn't a spoiler. I hope this is something you unlocked. In the scene where the director is getting interviewed on the late night equivalent.
Yes, and
there's the rewind, and then suddenly it is Marissa.
Yes.
Current day, I guess, or Demon Marissa, or whatever however you're supposed to read her. And the one, I think, is what the fiction calls her.
Okay.
In that.
The slick backed hair.
Yeah, slick back hair, the one. So, like that one, I was like, oh, okay. My first read on that was, oh, it's like a metaphor where it's like, how would this conversation have gone if Marissa was the director instead of him? Like, how would this change the dynamic between this interviewer and this person? What dialogue is different here? Oh, this gives Marissa an option to talk for herself as opposed to having a man talk for her, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought this whole, the one thing, all these ghost images and all this stuff was metaphor for, as you're saying, it's literally immortality because that's what you're doing when you're an actor in a film. Like you said, putting yourself on celluloid, you become timeless. But this metaphor is also saying, like, yeah, but what if we discussed what it would be to actually become these people? Like, that's also a metaphor, right? Like, what is immortality beyond just immortality of the screen? What if you, like, took somebody's body and literally lived forever? What if this character, this one, is literally immortal and she has lived from the beginning of time to current day? Like, she talks about a lot in the hidden footage about being there for biblical events. How that Mary Magdalene and the Virgin Mary were the same Mary, and they were only split when the story was retold in like oral tradition, and like all this stuff. And like, oh yeah, and I had to try the resurrection multiple times for it to stick, or something like that. It seems like she's like being there in Roman times, and like you said, being Adam and Eve. And so it's like the idea of the one or Marissa being there forever and just happening to be the same character. I thought that was all metaphorical, right?
No.
Apparently I'm wrong.
No, you're wrong. No.
What the internet told me is like, no, actually, this is real. It's supernatural horror.
Yes.
When you see the scenes of her vampire eating the other actors or the director, that actually happening, and she's actually the one is actually taking those bodies. So the stuff about, oh, I found this woman in a field and I took her life. That's not a metaphor. That's literally what happened. She found Marissa, took her body, became an actress.
Wait, you thought that was a metaphor?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I took that as literal.
That's the thing is,
I thought when I got to that scene, I thought, okay, that's why, that's how Marissa is this person.
And I think that's the one obstacle I have with really going all in and loving this video game. My one thing is, I kind of wish it was a metaphor. Because for me, I'm kind of where you are, which is I don't feel satisfied if all this is true. If all this is real, I'm like, this kind of sucks. Because I'm like, I would rather this be a metaphor for the stuff that's happening in the movie. And like the stuff that's happening, the first layer, as we talked about last week, the story of Marissa Marcel and what she's been doing and the struggles of being an actor and stuff like that. I wish it was a metaphor. I don't love that we're supposed to buy. I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief enough to be like, oh, wait, no, she literally is an immortal being who literally has eaten these actors and killed them, and this director and kills him. And all of this is real. And that it all circles back to that final burning scene, which is basically like getting rid of the vessel that the one was using permanently. I wish that it had stayed in the realm of metaphor, honestly. That's where I'm at with immortality. There are people, are digging the horror aspect, but I'm like, I think it's a better game and a more meaningful game if that's supposed to be just a parallel layer to what's happening. I don't like that being the game. But that's just me. That's kind of think where I'm sitting. So yeah, I think we're mostly on the same page. We mostly have an idea of what this game's trying to do. We've seen enough to get the gist of it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely probably one of my top 5 games of the year. But man, it's like it's really sitting weird with me because of that. I think it's more complicated than it should be.
So I think the ending, the true ending, heavy spoilers to get you to the true ending is once you've watched all the clips that it'll start to fade away and reveal the one through all the images of the films.
Yeah,
is that to me that's the metaphor that you want, saying that the film will fade away. Eventually, this will all die.
Yes,
but because it's now in a digital video game, that it can live forever and live through you. That's why the last line is, "I am now a part of you."
Right.
Because that this one being is now a part of us, in our psyche, in our brains, out there in the world, not just with us, but anyone who plays it, that now they can live forever because this game now exists.
Yeah.
Because the film was never released.
And I think on that level, that all works. I think that is why people are finding this game so meaningful to them, is because the metaphor works. But where it loses me is that the stuff with the one is so overcomplicated, way more complicated than it needs to be, in my opinion. I think that if you get literally every single scene in this movie, or this game, sorry, and including all of the extra scenes, I think you're just overwhelmed with too much. Also, I think it sucks that there are only so many of those and that they repeat so often. It sucks to get, like 3 scenes in a row that all have the same ghost footage. It's like, yes, I don't need to hear her talking about the chain for the 3rd billion time.
Yes, the chain.
About the war, the Great War was predictable, or whatever it is. It's just like, I've seen this before. The game should know, I think, if you've seen something, and then withhold it from you in the future. I think that if I was to give them advice, one thing I would change about this is once you've seen something, don't put it in there anymore, and give the player the option to replay it. Because how it is that they don't give you the option to replay it. They just make you get it again. And that kind of sucks. I don't know. It's just like, once you see it for a 5th time, that's what gives you that feeling of, I feel like I'm just randomly clicking things and not getting anywhere, which I think is turning some people off of this experience.
There's also no way to have all the stuff that you have unlocked, being able to play through it. You have to play through the clip to scrub through it to get the clip again.
And I do agree that there should just be a play all that just goes scene to scene to scene to scene, so that way you can watch all of it if you want to without having to match cut.
Yep.
So it's not a perfect game. I think it has its flaws, but as an experience, it's definitely unique, and it's definitely not something that's been done in this specific way before. And it definitely has something to say, which a lot of games, most video games, don't. So that makes it stand out in a way that, like I said, it will appear, I think, at my end of the year list, just because of how much it really hit me when it hit me. But I just wish it was more metaphorical. And again, obviously, it's a piece of art, so it's all metaphor. None of this actually happened. So you know what I mean when I say that, which is like, I think they overcomplicated their metaphor, and they made it too, they made it matter too much. They're going to get people who are struggling with the semantics of it, which I think they could have avoided by making it just a metaphor. I think people are getting stuck with, wait a minute, did this actually happen?
Yes, the guy actually died on film.
Well, that part is text. What I'm saying is the meta text of, but she's also can devour humans, and she has devoured 3 humans over the course of this.
Right.
That's a little much for me.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. But yeah, that's Immortality. We'll talk about more probably at the end of the year, I guess. But oh boy, what a weird thing. What a thing.
What a thing that was.
Yeah, what a thing that is.
All right. Now, on the lighter side, the more family-friendly side.
Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yes, the Disney pie.
As far away as Immortality as you could possibly get.
It's like that scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2. Where okay, what's the exact opposite of Slaughter Race?
Yeah, exactly.
Disney.
Yep.
So yes, Disney Dreamlight Valley, the open world, meet your Disney friends, characters within this kind of valley, almost uncanny valley. and just help out your friends. Help out your Disney friends. Become
I love to help out
partners
my
with
Disney
them.
friends.
So this game has been compared heavily to Disney meets Animal Crossing,
which sounds like a great pitch, honestly. That's a Venn diagram. That's a pretty big Venn diagram.
Yes.
Like, honestly, a lot of people like both of those things.
Yes. And so with that in mind, I decided to jump into Disney Dreamlight Valley.
All right.
And first off, there's a lot of customization in this game.
Cool.
Not just in your house that you can create, but also on your character. There's even an option to help create your own clothing. Not just like the clothes you actually wear, but like any accessory as well. You can also pick up clothing, you can buy clothing, buy furniture as well, crafting food. There's a lot going on in this game. Mining, fishing, everything that you think you can do in Animal Crossing, you can pretty much do right in here within the first hour of the game. Just going around and completing everything. Because it gives you all the tools right at the beginning before it starts opening everything up.
That's smart.
It's like, hey, I need you to go do this. Okay, here, we'll show you how to use it here.
Yeah.
Complete the task. Cool. Now let's move on to the next section. And then the next step. And then the next step. And then literally within an hour, you've unlocked everything. And it's like, okay, now you can go and talk to your new Disney friends in the valley here.
Yeah. That's extremely smart game design, because one of the biggest things with people who are jumping into Animal Crossing
is that they assume you played the other games.
Was all the people complaining, I have to wait until tomorrow to get the museum and stuff like that. It was a lot of people basically waiting for the game to let them do things.
Yeah, there was that was kind of what helped make New Horizons, right?
New Horizons.
Yeah, a big game in 2020 was because everyone was in lockdown. So when the game came out, everyone was doing the exact same level. So it was like a whole Twitter sphere and like Reddit threads on like everyone at the exact same levels, because you couldn't progress further in the actual story until X amount of time.
Yeah.
Not so much the case here with Disney Dreamlight Valley. You're pretty much given wherever you go. The problem with it currently is that there's only about a literal handful of Disney characters. And by a literal handful, I mean about 10 Disney characters that you can fully interact with.
Is it like Animal Crossing where these are randomized from a bunch and each player is going to get different characters? Or are these the same 10 characters for everybody?
It's going to be the same 10 characters, but the bulk of them are going to be blocked behind doors, which you can only access by completing missions.
Playing the
game, completing missions, getting the bells if you want.
Yeah, money.
The money, the currency. So there's two types of currency. There's actual currency, which you can spend on Scrooge McDuck, because of course you can.
Oh yeah, he needs to make it into a pool so he can swim.
Exactly. He needs his fortune back. Or there's Dreamlight currency, which you can use to open different biomes within the world. Whether it be a beach setting, a meadow setting, ice setting. For like Elsa and stuff.
So now pre-podcast, you mentioned that this is a live game that they plan on updating later. So do you think that the 10 character tease is purposeful, so that way once they update the game, you'll be like, oh shit, I have to jump back into Dreamlight Valley because my favorite character just got added?
Oh yes, because during the D23 announcement, they had Dreamlight Valley and said our first character packs are here. And it's Toy Story.
So are those
coming soon?
Now the question is, do you have to pay money for those?
Probably.
Oh no!
Unsure yet. Currently, they're doing a Pixar Fest kind of thing where you can get different skins and.
That is where the Animal Crossing comparison stops, because Animal Crossing you only had to pay for DLC later, and that was optional. The actual core gameplay did not require. You could always get new animals without having to pay. This is maybe going to disappoint a lot of people who are used to that kind of thing being provided to them.
Well, so they've given, at least the way I'm playing it, which is like every other day and not
every single day.
Not every single day. Like I play for 6 hours of trying to like ram through everything. Is that it's giving me enough to do, and there's a lot of blockades in making sure I make friends and friendships with the different characters to build up, so I can unlock other things and progress through the main story. Which is smart. It gives you, forces you to make these friendships with these Disney characters for instance, the first three doors, one of them was Moana.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I want to do that one. So I went in and you meet Moana and Maui, and you try and make friends with them. So that once you do, you can bring them back to the Disney Dreamlight Valley, and they can live with you in this big valley. So it's like going to all these like different Disney places, making friends with the Disney characters, and then inviting them back to the Animal Crossing reference, your own island.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
So how much life do you think this thing has? Because one of the things about Animal Crossing is kept like people busy for a pretty much entire calendar year. Do you think that you have to be a huge Disney nut to really dig into this and get what you want from it? Do you think this can bring in some people who are just like those kind of cozy games that may not have an affiliation with Disney?
It's definitely a cozy game. I think the main blockade is going to be, I want to get to my favorite characters.
Yeah, where is my favorite?
Where's my favorite characters?
And do I have to spend money on it later? Yeah.
Yes, because like the ice biome is like 2 biomes away.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to play through the current biome plus 2 more in order to get to, if I'm a big Frozen fan, to the Ice Kingdom to get to Elsa. So I can have Elsa walk around and follow me and make friends with her.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably take a look at this because it's on Game Pass, but also because resident cozy game expert Christy will probably give me her take on this. She's played every variant of this: Cozy Grove, Stardew Valley, My Time in Portia. She loves this genre, and Animal Crossing, of course. So I'll get her 2 cents on this. She's not huge on Disney, but character recognition is still there, so I'm sure she'll find something to like here. I'll report back next week. Right. But interesting, very interesting.
So real briefly, you brought up DLC.
Yeah.
Unsure how much DLC will have to be paid for because while this is free on Game Pass, you can buy it on other. I think PlayStation, Xbox as well. It might be on the Switch.
Yeah, probably PC.
Where you can buy it. So I'm not sure how much DLC is going to be attached to it. But one thing I did notice is that there were no microtransactions. You can't pay for
for a second
coins.
there, when you said that there were 2 currencies, I was like, okay, are we getting a microtransaction? But no.
No, one's like actual currency that you can like build up, and then the other currency is through completing missions.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So one's currency that's going to Scrooge McDuck, and the other one is going to the actual like the valley and the kingdom, so you can blast away the dark thorns and return everyone's memory.
Well,
by the way, this game is an Amnesia. The game, everyone forgot who they are.
Of course they did.
And so that's why when they meet you, they're like, "Oh, you can be my friend, and let's go from here." So I don't have no like affiliation with anyone else but you.
Of course.
Help me, my friend.
All right. Well, cool. That's Disney Dreamlight Valley, and like I said, that's on Game Pass, but also can be available for purchase on other platforms.
Yep.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Let's go.
It's the second half of the show.
Yep.
So that's, of course, the television section. And we always start the television section with the Sports Corner /Wall. Sports Corner. Welcome to the Sports Corner. Of course, the biggest story of sports this week is the NFL is back proper. We had your opening game on Thursday night. How did your Rams do?
They scored 10 points.
Hey! But then lost. So your Super Bowl champs already entering the season with a losing record.
Yes, this is actually the first time that Sean McVay has ever been below 500.
Oh no.
Yes, as weird as that stat sounds.
It sounds wild, but
when you start the season 0-1, you're technically below 500.
That is true. You are.
And he's never been below 500.
So going into tomorrow's games, what's there to big stories to look forward to in football?
So big stories for week 1 is the return of Baker Mayfield, now the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, going into Cleveland, where he was just recently let go.
Yep.
And then Monday night is going to be Russell Wilson,
Russell Wilson.
Current quarterback of the Denver Broncos,
weird
going into
weird thing to say.
Seattle.
Oh no!
On Monday Night Football.
Wow. Okay.
To play his former team.
Weird.
Other than that, it's the first week of fantasy football, and all fantasy drafts have currently happened. If you haven't, technically you can start a fantasy league at any point, but you're missing out on those points from the first week, especially the first game right now. If you had anyone from there, but yeah, so far I'm liking my picks.
Well, there you go. So watch your numbers go up or go down, depending on who you drafted.
Only up.
Only up.
Never down.
Meanwhile, in baseball, big news happening in the baseball world. First of all, if it is playoff watch, if you are a fan of teams such as the Oakland A's and the Washington Nationals, well, maybe next season, as both of them have officially been eliminated from MLB playoffs. They are the first teams to be eliminated. Watch your teams. Yours could be next.
Yes. First official Oakland A's from the American League.
Yes.
Washington Nationals from the National League. Now, hometown of the Angels.
Yes.
Even though we are technically not eliminated,
no.
According to ESPN, we have a 0.1% chance of actually making the playoffs.
It's very unlikely to get a wild card spot as long as the Mariners exist. So, yeah, it's not looking like that is going to happen for our Angels. But at least we're in third place now.
Yeah. So there are several teams currently that have a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which is why they're not technically eliminated yet.
They're eliminated in our hearts, let's say. So, as September continues, we will have more playoff news for you as we enter. But like I said, a Dodgers-Astros World Series is all but an inevitability at this point.
Yes. And then on the flip side of that, currently no team has officially clinched a playoff spot. Even though there are several teams that are way out in front and be like, you're pretty much guaranteed to walk into the playoffs at this point.
But yes, we will definitely update you with that news as it happens. Meanwhile, though, rule changes for next season are already getting solidified by the league. We had already had stories earlier in the year about these things happening. Well, now they are official going into the 2023 season.
They were happening in the minor leagues as a testing ground.
But now the majors are getting them next year. First in the confirmation is the pitch timer, which will happen and will be up to 20 seconds. There are specific rules about when a pitcher must be ready and when a batter must be ready to receive a pitch. It varies. There's also little wrinkles about what this means for throwing to first for a tag out to get somebody who's trying to steal. There's rules that are too specific and granular to get into here.
That's why it's written up to 20 seconds.
So look up the specifics if you are a nerd and want to know that stuff. Apparently that's where I'm at now because I was like poring over those rules last night. I was like,
but this is next year though.
Yes, and that will kick in next year. So, this is good news though because, as you mentioned, it is being tested in the minors.
Yes, on average, a game is 30 minutes faster.
And all other stats though seem to be normal. So people are concerned that it will prohibit scoring or give the pitcher an advantage. That does not seem to be the case.
Or a pitcher disadvantage.
Right, depending. It doesn't seem that the case as in the minor leagues. Yes, as you mentioned, all this is created as shorter games. And every person who hates baseball will tell you it's because that they're long and boring. A pitch clock will make that likely not the case. So
also for TV broadcast, that if you block out 3 hours of time and then the game ends up going 4 hours.
Yeah. So I think this is good. I am all for the pitch timer. I think it's good news. Mm-hmm. Also, what I'm all for, and I know we're divided here, restrictions on the infield shift is going to happen, specifically to 2 players will be required to be on each side of second base in the dirt. That is the key there because you can't move them back. Can't move they have to be there on either side of second base. There have to be players there no matter what.
So this has brought up some interesting Twitter debate as to whether stadiums and teams, since every diamond is different, whether they increase that space back into the outfield with extra dirt.
That's a good point because baseball is unique in the sports as different stadiums are laid out differently. This is not the case in literally every other sport. But for some reason...
except for golf.
Except for golf, that's true. But that's not, let's say, team sport.
Yes.
Where it's not like...
Hey, live golf. It's team sport.
Whatever. Anyways, so there is a possibility, as you mentioned, for stadiums to reinvent themselves to combat this. But it seems
to have a larger infield presence.
I think generally this is a good thing because I think that anything that increases offensive opportunity is good for the game of baseball. Mm-hmm. And this will do that. the lack of having a shift in response to specific players will be good because those players will be able to actually make base hits again when they've been thwarted by the shift every single time. Shohei Ohtani. So
I'm sorry, just hit the opposite way. How hard is it?
Again, yes, the argument, as you just mentioned from people on the internet, is why don't hitters just don't hit there? But I think
it's a percentage thing, though.
It's a percentage thing, exactly. Baseball, it's hard enough to hit the ball at all in baseball. I say let the hitters hit the ball more. And I think this is just good for the sport. That's my opinion. You can tell me I'm wrong. But
one, you're wrong. Two, it'll be interesting to see where they line up that second base line.
Yes.
Is it directly from home plate second or from third base to second over?
And speaking of bases, the third and weirdest rule is the bases were getting bigger. Larger bases will be in the game, from going from 15 inches to 18-inch squares. I don't know why. I guess this makes it easier to
it's supposed to increase stealing opportunities.
Right.
Because in essence, because you're increasing it 3 inches per base,
yeah,
you're now 6 inches closer.
Yes. Which will make those close calls at first a little bit more interesting. And yes, will make stealing a little easier.
It's meant to encourage stealing and make more excitement for the base runners.
As a team who loves to steal, I'm okay with this. We are little bandits. Maybe not as much this
as
season
the trash
as last
bandits.
season, but yes. It's just like trash pandas. We're little bandits. We like stealing things. All I'm thinking is these poor kids who have to steal third base in the middle of the game. They have to carry such a bigger base now. Anyways,
it's a bigger trophy now.
They'll put the smaller ones in there just for the kid, and then put the bigger one back. Anyways, so yeah, those are your rule changes. They will be in effect at the beginning of next season. Yet another reason to look forward to next season. All right. Anyways, and other sports news: the U.S. Open finals have been decided. We will have Casper Ruud versus Carlos Alcaraz, and Iga Swiatek versus Ons Jabeur.
That is your U.S. Tennis Open.
Yes. So look forward to that.
Those finals are taking place later today.
Yes.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
To you non-Serena Williams people.
Yes, and in women's basketball, the WNBA finals have been decided. It will be the Las Vegas Aces versus the Connecticut Sun.
Yep, the Chicago Sky were eliminated in the semifinals, so no repeat champion.
No Sky. So sky's the limit for those two teams that are still there. Haha. Anything else in sports before we move on?
Yes, college football is back and starting, and we're missing the game of Texas versus Alabama.
Well, sorry, we have to do a podcast on Saturday mornings. See, if Saturday morning bit you in the butt now.
Yes, it did.
We can't do Sunday though. That's professional football.
Yes, that's professionals.
What
do you mean? Technically, this is now professionals because of NIL deals.
Don't have time to get into that.
Quentin Ewers.
Context. All right. Anything else in sports, or we can move on?
No, we're good here.
Hey, let's move on because it's Emmys, and more Emmys. As you know, as of this recording, the Emmys happen. The primetime Emmys, I should say, happen tomorrow night. So get ready for
Monday.
That. What? They're on Monday?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought they were Sunday. They're always on Sundays.
Are they Sunday complete with Sunday Night Football?
Scroll up. You're right. They're not. It's Monday night.
Yeah, they're competing with Monday Night Football.
That is very strange. Okay. Interesting. So Monday night, my bad.
Hosted by one SNL
Kenan
Thompson.
Kenan Thompson himself.
Yep.
Well,
formerly of Kenan.
Yes. Anyway, if you're looking forward to those Emmys, look forward to our second story. But first, before those Emmys, we have the Creative Arts Emmys, which are the Emmys before the Emmys. Your big winners at the Creative Art Emmys this year included Chippendale Rescue Rangers, winning for Outstanding TV Movie. I
it did.
With that, but that's okay.
Yeah, it did.
Hey, you know what? The Emmy voters can be wrong. It's okay. Barack Obama, yes, that Barack Obama became the first U.S. president to win an Emmy or a competitive Emmy, I guess, for an outstanding narrator for Netflix's Our Great National Parks.
Yes. Please note that this is competitive Emmy.
Yes.
The previous Emmy won by a U.S. president was sitting U.S. president. I think it was Eisenhower during live event. I think was the actual category that it won.
I see. Okay. The Beatles Get Back, our favorite television show from last year, won docuseries. So congratulations, rightfully won.
Yes, it did.
Adele One Night, only one variety special, or One Night Only, One variety special. Yeah, should have capitalized only there. And the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show from this past January, I almost said last year, one variety special. That puts Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, Adele, and Eminem only a Tony Award away from achieving EGOT status. And I feel like a lot of these people will probably get it. I could easily see Paul McCartney putting money in for a Broadway show.
Yep.
And Ringo Starr for probably the same Broadway show. And Adele and Eminem, maybe. I could see it. What 8 Mile, the musical, coming to Broadway. Musical.
Yep.
It's easy. Just do that. And then cast Adele in it. There you go. Boom. Done and done. Arcane, the animated series on Netflix based on League of Legends, won Outstanding Animated Program. Chadwick Boseman won posthumously for Outstanding Character Voiceover Performance for What If. Nathan Lane, rightfully so, won Guest Performance Emmy for Only Murders in the Building. He's the best part of that show. And RuPaul continues the streak of outstanding host for a reality or competition program. So yeah, a lot of good wins this year at the Creative Arts Emmys. Pretty much everybody. Oh yeah, Nathan Fielder won for whatever his
the rehearsal.
Was. No, I don't think the rehearsal.
Oh, not Nathan for You.
I think it was Nathan for You because I don't think the rehearsal is
not
eligible yet because it's pretty new. But I could be wrong. Regardless, he won.
Last week tonight won its writing, continuing its streak.
Yes.
So look for that to win in the Emmys.
For variety. Yeah, I bet that will
win.
Whatever. I think they split variety again, right? Because it wasn't and then now it is again or something. I forget.
They did.
We'll go through those in a second.
Yes.
Speaking of which, let's move on out of the Creative Arts Emmys and into the proper primetime Emmys.
And it's prediction time.
Yes, let's talk about the big categories here. Looking forward to Monday night. And we start with drama series, which is a grab bag this year.
Mm-hmm.
We have Better Call Saul, Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Succession, and Yellow Jackets. That's a lot of S's in this.
Yep. My money is going to be on This Is Us for the final season.
It's not nominated.
Damn it. All right. The critics love Severance.
The critics do love Severance.
Severance has had a big push, especially in the nominations.
Yeah.
That would be the upset to win because it is Succession's to lose.
Yeah. However, Better Call Saul could get its finale big win.
Next year, I think.
No, I think it's over, isn't it? We had this conversation.
It just ended.
I could have sworn it ended.
No, it just ended. Like a couple weeks ago.
Mean so next year?
So next year would be its finale.
I don't know. I feel like Better Call Saul could still win it though, because I feel like it has a momentum that these other shows maybe don't. But that being said, as the show that secretly is more popular than you think because all of your parents watch it, I think Yellow Jackets could upset here.
For a second, I thought you were going to say Euphoria.
No. Anyways. Let's move on to comedy series, which I think is even harder to guess this year. We have the only network show on this list, Abbott Elementary.
Rightfully so.
We have Barry, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Hacks, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, and What We Do in the Shadows. The winner in my heart here is What We Do in the Shadows, because it has consistently been one of the funniest shows on television for 4 years straight. It won't win, though, because there's some heavy hitters here. We have previous Emmy comedy series winners, Ted Lasso, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Hacks, all nominated in the same category here. Curb Your Enthusiasm is a dark horse. I think it could possibly come from behind, but I doubt it. I think this is the three, is Hacks, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Ted Lasso. I think Ted Lasso, a little bit of downward trajectory from its first season where it won. I think having Marvelous Mrs. Maisel back in the running is challenging. However, I think this goes to Hacks for the second year.
Yeah, because the only reason Hacks won last year was because Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was not nominated.
That being said, I think Hacks is strong enough. I could see a second season win.
See, I see them splitting the vote, and then it just comes to Ted Lasso.
Unless they give it to Barry, and it surprises everybody.
Ooh, surprise Barry.
Surprise Barry could happen, but I think I'm comfortable with saying Hacks.
I'm going to stick with Ted Lasso.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So good.
We'll see. All right. For limited series, we have kind of tough fight this year.
A Hulu fight.
Limited series, thanks to streaming, are beginning to be way more common than they used to be.
Yep.
Dope Sick, The Dropout, Inventing Anna, Pam and Tommy, and The White Lotus. I think this is White Lotus. The HBO momentum is too much to fight here.
It is too much to fight. You're right. The White Lotus had a phenomenal cast. Great story.
Critical Darling.
Critical Darling.
Viral sensation. It has all the check marks.
It's also non-streaming.
Yep, that's true. They love HBO at the Emmys.
Yes, they do.
All right, then we have lead actor in a drama series. We have Jason Bateman of Ozark, Brian Cox from Succession, Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game, Bob Odenkirk from Better Call Saul, Adam Scott from Severance, and Jeremy Strong from Succession.
Here's where Bob Odenkirk
I think
wins.
Bob Odenkirk gets his Emmy here, unless Adam Scott is the surprise. That's my
Like I said, Severance is just going to be a sleeper underdog. It's gotten a lot of noise for it.
Could be. Lead actress in the drama series, Jodie Comer from Killing Eve, Laura Linney from Ozark, Melanie Linsky from Yellow Jackets, Sandra Oh for Killing Eve, Reese Witherspoon for The Morning Show, and Zendaya from Euphoria. I think Zendaya does it again.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think
too strong of an actress.
Has the momentum right now too, and I think that she'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Surprise might go to Jodie Comer for Killing Eve.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Lead actor in a comedy series, Donald Glover for Atlanta, Bill Hader for Barry, Nicholas Hoult for The Great, Steve Martin for Only Murders in the Building, and Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, Jason Sudeikis from Ted Lasso. It sucks that Steve Martin and Martin Short are nominated here because I think they cross each other out.
Yep.
So I think neither of them has a chance.
Instead, it's going to go to Jason Sudeikis' mustache.
Yeah, I think it's Jason Sudeikis here unless there's a Bill Hader upset.
You're really pulling for Bill Hader now.
I think that Barry has more momentum now than it ever has. I think it could happen. But those are the only two I could see winning here. I don't think Donald Glover has it like he used to.
Okay. As for the actresses.
Yes, lead actress in the comedy series, Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Kaylee Cuoco for The Flight Attendant, Elle Fanning for The Great, Issa Rae for Insecure, and Jean Smart for Hacks. The easy guess here is Jean Smart. I think Issa Rae could pop up. I think she's been in the news a lot and been on a lot of people's minds over the last year. But honestly, my heart is like, oh, what great news is the one Emmy that Abbott Elementary gets. I think could be Quinta Brunson here. I think she's so good in that show. She's the heart and soul of that show.
She's what makes that show.
I think if it does get an Emmy, this is where it wins.
But it's going to be hard to beat Jean Smart, though.
Yeah, Jean Smart and Rachel Brosnahan are the tough ones here.
All right.
What else should we talk about here?
Top variety series will go to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Competition program will go to The Amazing Race. It always does.
You think, though? Wasn't it Drag Race last year? Didn't they surprise
Was it an upset for Drag Race?
I think it was a surprise last year.
It always goes to Amazing Race, especially because this past one was the COVID year.
Maybe. I don't know.
And the TV movie they nominated.
Yeah.
I think we went through pretty much all the other.
There's the major ones. Well, the writing ones are always interesting to me.
You're right.
Comedy writing is especially packed this year. I remember.
Variety special.
Down here somewhere.
I know it's somewhere down here.
Now, saying ready for a comedy series. You have the pilot for Abbott Elementary. You have an episode from Barry, 2 episodes from Barry.
That's the finale from Barry.
Yeah, you have Hacks, one episode from Hacks. You have 1 episode from Only Murders, and you have a Ted Lasso episode, and then you have 2 What We Do in the Shadows, which, oh man, I hope one of those win because there are 2 amazing episodes of that show, especially the Wellness Center. Christy and I are pulling for that one. It is a fantastic episode. But yeah, anyway, we probably covered the big ones. So yeah, that is, like I said, Monday night. So don't tune in on Sunday night. There will be no awards.
No, everyone's going to be watching Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I guess they got out of the way of that. All right, well, there you go. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll have all of your winner news next week.
Yep.
All right, now let's dig into some thoughts. Disney Plus Day happened. Disney Plus stuff went up. You watched some Disney Plus stuff.
Yeah, I'll just be real beef about it because Obi-Wan Jedi's Return is nothing but beef.
It's behind the scenes of the Obi-Wan series.
Yes, but it's also about the time that it took between the end of Return of the Jedi.
You mean Rise of Skywalker?
No, Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, okay.
The other third one.
Yeah, the other third one. Jeez.
Because that's the last time we saw Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Which was way back in like 2005, 6.
Between 05 and 07.
It's 15 years. 15 years because he played
05,
it.
I think you're right.
Because he played it and then you had to wait for it to come out. So
yeah.
The difference between then and now, the experience he gained, and how it comes to the kind of the backstory of how he wanted the role, how he applied for the role, got the role.
Yeah.
And then it gets in, once you get that backstory out of the way, then it gets into the creation of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series, the Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
And everything that they did behind the scenes to not only be faithful to where it left off, but also to get the characters to where they're going to be come A New Hope in the opening of episode 4.
Got it.
It's exactly what you think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it does anything special or new in terms of behind the scenes stuff. But if you like behind the scenes stuff, it's there.
Yeah.
Because I'm all nerds for that. Also, the assembled Thor: Love and Thunder, also available on Disney Plus from Disney Plus Day.
Okay, cool.
And last other thing I watched from Disney Plus Day was Cars on the Road, the animated shorts based in the Cars franchise from Pixar on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it is exactly what you think it is.
More shorts of the Cars.
More shorts of the Cars.
How much Mater are we talking?
Pretty much all.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's probably majority Mater.
Majority is Mater. There was actually one good episode in which they stayed at a spooky hotel and just did all of the horror-themed movie tropes in a Cars-themed universe.
That's fun.
Specifically with The Shining, because they're staying in a motel.
Yeah.
It's here's what The Shining would be if it was in the Cars universe. I'm okay, that's kind of fun and smart.
Something for the parents. Why not?
Yeah. But other than that, it's very let's take this real world thing and carify it.
Yeah.
And that's Cars on the Road.
That's Cars on the Road.
But it allows the animators and all these creatives to get these ideas out there and help expand on the Cars universe.
Yeah.
Rather than having it solely be in either the Mater shorts or an actual Cars film where the focus is on the Cars racing.
Right.
Unlike Cars 2, where it kind of wasn't.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about Cars 2.
We don't talk about Cars. Anyway.
Cool. Anyways. So that was pretty much I watched out from Disney Plus Day. There's other stuff that came out as well, but because that was on Thursday, I didn't have time to watch all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a job,
Yeah.
So instead, leading up to that, I decided to watch with the doctor the one thing I kind of plugged last week.
Yes.
Saying this was available. And yes, I did end up watching it. That is the new dating show on Netflix, Dated and Related.
Yes.
Where you are on a dating show with your brother and or sister.
And they're your wing person. They're helping you go on these dates.
Yep. They're there to help you basically find love and wing person to help you. But at the same time, you're supposed to help wing person them to help find love. So you both can stay in this villa in Spain. And it's another one of the things of hot people being hot and being dumb in relationships.
Sure, yeah.
Because for some reason, they just go hand in hand. You can't have a smart person relationship and be super good looking. It's for some reason that just doesn't work for Netflix.
No, it's only one kind.
Yep. Super constant workout shots. Yes, we gotta have everyone working out together. And then that's all they're doing. Here's this pool that no one ever uses. But occasionally, they'll just lay by the pool or lounge near the pool, but never actually get in the pool because apparently no one brought their bathing suit or something. It's you guys, you're in a villa. How are you one, not hitting on each other constantly? It's if you're trying to be with a person and you're in a villa, there's only so much square footage to where you're gonna run into them.
Yeah.
So keep running into them and keep trying to pursue. If you have connections, that's one thing that frustrates me. Is oh, we have a connection. We kissed last night, and then the next day I never talked to them. I'm what do you mean you never talked to them? You're in a villa. There's only so much square footage going around that you're going to have to bump into each other unless you're just like, okay, we had a kiss last night and now I'm going to go and pump iron and work out all day because it's my workout day. And then just like talk to my brother about it, but then never talk to the person I actually kissed about it. And it's super like awkward, like, oh my God, no wonder you're single.
Yeah. Yeah, this sounds a lot.
But that's dated and related.
That's dated and related. Anyway. So, yeah, if you like the Netflix trashy reality shows, there's another one for you.
Oh, yes.
Anyways, so it looks like you wrapped up a couple seasons of some animated shows.
No, actually, these just began.
Ah, I see.
So, a couple animated shows last season were left on big cliffhangers. First one being Rick and Morty, season 5 ended on a cliffhanger with the Citadel of Ricks being completely destroyed and the whole timeline being completely unraveled. And so we come into season 6, which picks up roughly where that ended. And we finally have a true villain of the series.
Okay.
It's another version of Rick.
Because of course it is.
Because of course it is. But they're referring to this as Rick Prime.
Of course.
Because he is the main person and antagonist that got our Rick that we've been following in the series on this journey that they're on now.
Got it.
And so that's the setup, and that's kind of going to be the setting up to be the through line through season 6 is trying to find and defeat Prime Rick.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. It's more Rick and Morty, so I assume that they're going to abandon that for at least 4 episodes before they bring it back, that plot line, if not until the very end at 10 episodes. So Rick and Morty's back, and as Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon have said in recent interviews going around promoting season 6, they don't see any reason to stop making Rick and Morty.
Yeah. And Cartoon Network's behind it. So why not take advantage of that? Because it seems like as a corporation, they might not have very much longer where they're still getting money for animated shows. So we'll see.
Not just that, but when you deal with an infinite multiverse and you can really create anything, and you're running in a cartoon where you don't have to worry about aged actors.
You can keep going.
You can literally be the new Simpsons.
Yeah.
No, not Simpsons. South Park.
Yeah, basically.
And run for 20 seasons.
Right.
Which is, I think, what they would want.
We'll see if they let them make it that long, though.
If they let them. Speaking of things that are running forever and getting up there in seasons, Archer. So Archer season 12 ended with the unfortunate death of Jessica Walters.
Yes.
Not that the character died in the show, but rather Jessica Walters died. So they had to find some way to write her off in the show.
Yeah.
Which they did at the end of season 12 in a very nice and touching note. And I would have really liked it if that's where they ended it. But as I just said, because it's a cartoon, because you don't have aging actors, and you can run this show forever, they decided to come back with season 13. Mm-hmm. And they're once again starting from the ground up and trying to become a new agency post Mallory, post Mallory's the character's name, post Jessica Walters, and trying to see who will take the lead, who will become in charge. And hint, spoiler, it's not Archer, because he's not a leader, he's just a doer. So it's up to figure out like who amongst the other team members is going to step up and take the lead. And I think that's an interesting aspect of where to go, because it's going to allow one of these sub characters who we've seen through 12 seasons now actually step up and take power, take control. Someone become more of a stronger voice rather than just a background character.
I mean, it's a show that constantly has to rewrite its premise because it's lasted so long that they need to make it new and fresh every time.
I literally went through the whole dream sequence for 4 seasons because they didn't know what they wanted to do.
Yeah, so it's a neat idea, another neat idea of doing that, like a way of doing that that's fresh. And then, cool, sure, shake it up.
Yep, it's a good shake-up. Yeah. So that's Archer season 13.
Cool. And then I want to talk about something that just wrapped up its 4th season. So we mentioned it in the Emmys section there. But yes, What We Do in the Shadows on FX, still a threat. The 4th season was just as good, and I think Christy and I are united in might be the best season they've done. It was strong start to finish. A lot of characters got their time to shine. If you're a fan of Guillermo, he gets the most screen time he's ever gotten in this season.
Ooh.
You get to learn more about his character. He gets a big twist at the end, too, that I don't want to spoil because it's really good. But yeah, some of the best episodes that they've had have been in this season. One in particular was great. It does the sitcom thing that I love when sitcoms do, which is they take a show, an in-universe show that the characters watch, and make the entire episode episode of that show. It's basically one of the characters is obsessed with a home renovation like flip it show, and they do the entire they're framing it like as if the show is doing their mansion, the vampire's mansion. It's very, very funny. It's the best episode of the show that they've done in a long time. We had a blast with it. So yeah, if you like that show, season 4 was amazing. It's all on Hulu if you want to catch up. But yeah, I hope it just lasts forever, and it will probably be on my end of the year list for TV. It's still some of the funniest TV that's being made right now.
Yeah, I mean, Emmy nominated.
Yeah, I know.
Year after year.
I'd say if you are not watching or not caught up, please watch it. I think you'll really enjoy it.
I mean, like I said, I only watched the first season. I haven't gone back to it.
You have to go back to it. It's they're only 10 episodes per.
I know.
So it's a quick churn.
I know they're half hour each.
And they're half hours, so you can get it done in a week.
Maybe I will.
And maybe you should. I think before the end of the year, you should catch up because I think it's really, really good. Okay. All right, let's move out of thoughts then, unless you have something else.
Yes. So a couple shows that we've meant to be talking about, but just haven't.
I just realized one that I did watch also that I need to talk about. But yes, finish your thought.
Is it Amazon based?
No.
Okay, mine's Amazon based.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
I watched Netflix's Bee and Puppy Cat.
Okay, what is this show?
Okay, so
we watched the little preview teaser of it, and we're like,
so
maybe it's good.
So if this is new to you, that means you weren't on YouTube 10 years ago watching the shorts.
No.
So Bee and Puppy Cat originated as a series of shorts for Cartoon Network's short-lived Cartoon Hangover production, which was originally supposed to air on the network and then never did. So it was all the programs that were meant for Cartoon Hangover were relegated to YouTube. So
I've watched some Cartoon Hangover stuff.
Right. So Bee and Puppy Cat did have a run on the Cartoon Network on Cartoon Hangover YouTube. It is a Frederator production. So it has a lot of that creative talent behind it.
Bravest Warriors, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes, Bravest Warriors was part of this.
Yes.
It was basically a lot of talent that had worked on Adventure Time, ended up doing their original shows on this thing.
Yes.
Including Natasha Allegri, who is the creator of Bee and Puppy Cat. She worked on Adventure Time first. So you'll recognize her style. It's a lot of the more avant-garde cutesy stuff that was in Adventure Time.
I was getting a lot of Adventure Time and Steven Universe vibes.
Very Adventure Time vibes. So that run, that lasted for a few years, I believe, and they always intended on doing a second season of it, but that was never released for whatever reason. Now we're seeing the fruits of that labor. The Netflix show is both. It's two things. It's one, it is a proper season 2. So if you watch those original shorts, which are, by the way, all available on YouTube in a big block, you can just watch them back to back. And I recommend you do. However, you don't need to, because the second thing it's also a retelling of sorts of those shorts in the first couple episodes. So if you miss those, you don't have to worry about going back. It does a fairly good job of setting up who this character is, what this world is, and why that matters. So the rest of it is a little harder to explain, because what Being Puppy Cat is very strange and fantastical and just all over the place. If you like when Adventure Time got weird, you will like Being Puppy Cat, because the gist of it is that Bee is a human woman who is partnered, I guess, with a pet. She always wants a pet, so she wishes for a pet one day. She's given Puppy Cat, which is, as it sounds like, a cat-like thing that is also kind of puppy-like, that can't speak English, speaks in weird robotic electronic tones. But don't worry, you got subtitles for him. And she's out of a job. She just got fired. So what does Puppy Cat provide her? Hey, turns out that there is a place called the Temp Zone that will assign you to do small jobs to earn money on random planets, which gives a Monster of the Week style setup for the show, as every episode has Bee and Puppy Cat being sent to a planet, assigned a job, and a weird thing to do. And this allows the show to pretty much be anything that it wants to be. Wildly different things happen on these different planets. It gives Bee a different outfit to wear, a different thing for her to do. There's also a overlying story, a little bit of lore, in case that you're wondering if there's lore here.
Yes.
About where is this island that she lives on? Like, is there a backstory to this island? Is there something about the island she doesn't know about? Is her landlord, who is this small child, like, is maybe his family? Is there something up with his mom? Is there something up with her friends? Like, you learn the backstory of her friends that live near her. What's the origin of Puppy Cat? How did Puppy Cat come to be? Like, what are Puppy Cat's powers? But the thing is, it's all fast-tracked because there aren't that many episodes. So you get a lot of stuff in every episode, and it never really spells it out to you. It, like, buries little things that you have to kind of put together by the end of the episode. It's like, oh, wait a minute. What does this mean? Okay. And all while being completely out there visually and just strange things happening. And the dialogue is also sparse and, like, not super descriptive, which means that you have to be really paying attention sometimes to really get, like, character motivations and what everybody's talking about. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I liked the original shorts, and this is that and more. The budget shot through the roof. This is one of the most beautiful looking shows, animated shows I've seen in a long, long time. They really gave them the money to do this. And yeah, I'm having a really good time with it. I'm 2.5 episodes in so far.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just definitely a visual feast, and the characters are fun, and it's hilarious. And I want to see where it goes. I want to see what they end up doing. Because in a world where we just got a bunch of animated shows canceled on streaming services, the fact that this gets to exist in its little island on Netflix makes me very happy. So yeah, I'll report back once I finish it up. But so far, so good. That's what Bee and Puppy Cat is.
That's what Bee and Puppy Cat is. Okay.
Yeah, you should check it out. You should check it out. The
Maybe.
pilot is a lot, but once you get to the end of it, you'll decide whether you want to watch more of it.
Okay. So what I was alluding to,
yes.
mainly with the Amazon stuff, is that, yes, we on this podcast have yet to talk about Rings of Power.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
That will be rectified by next week.
Okay.
And I say that because by next week, I will have had Amazon Prime installed and logged into.
Oh, good.
Because starting next week, on Thursday Night Football will be exclusive to Amazon Prime. Yes. So, which means that I need to be logged in order to watch the Thursday night games.
Yes.
No, so they're gone from the NFL Network. We can't watch them there. They have to be watched on Amazon Prime. The only place to watch it, so it's streaming exclusive now.
Right.
Good, bad, we don't know. We'll see.
See.
But yeah, the first episode will be this upcoming Thursday. My thoughts on it next week. And because I'll be logged in, I'll probably watch a lot of Amazon stuff and catch up with that as well.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So we already have a docket of things to talk about next week. In the meanwhile, let's go to cancellations and renewals. Bloodbath this week. First up, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin will get a renewal. We'll get a second season on HBO Max. It just had its first. Yep. The Handmaid's Tale, its 6th season on Hulu, will be its final season.
It's currently airing its 5th season, or its 5th season coming up. So the next coming 6th season, they can finally end it on their terms.
Yes. In case you didn't hope you didn't get invested in Paper Girls on Prime Video, as it has been canceled after 1 season. Seems like everybody more or less had the same thoughts that Christy and I did, which was like, eh.
Yeah.
And then another show that was like, had some potential, but didn't quite live up to it. Maggie, which remember was the show with the psychic that I talked about that 1 week.
Yes.
We didn't stick with it either, and neither did Hulu, as it is going to be canceled after the first season. So there you go. Bye, Maggie. Then we have 3 deaths. One definitely more, let's say, world earth-shaking than the other 2. But let's do the other 2 first. Peter Straub, at 79, novelist, wrote Julia, Ghost Story, and The Talisman.
That is The Talisman with Stephen King.
Yes.
Co-wrote.
David A. Arnold, age 54, that's young. Comedian/actor, was in Fuller House, The Ricky Smiley Show, The Girl That Girl Lele, among others. I'm not sure what caused death there is, but yeah.
No, that was
fairly young.
That was young and that was sudden.
Yeah. Then, of course, if you are a human being with eyes and ears, you definitely heard that Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of England, passed away at age 96 this week. Yes, she will be. The royal family, I guess, is in shambles. England is trying to figure out the next steps. It's just chaos over there as we're trying to figure out.
As of this morning, Prince Charles
is now King.
King Charles, officially taking the name King Charles the Third.
Yes, third.
I believe.
It's going to be a weird year as they kind of clean all of that stuff up. And
so we're going to have at least 2 different monarchs.
Yeah.
Or kings. Yeah. Because in the line of succession it's King Charles and then King George, right?
I don't know.
Is it Harry and George? It's George and Harry.
I think that's the order.
Yeah, George and Harry. And then should they die, then it'll go to the kids of Archie before it goes to Charlotte.
Right.
So we will never see another queen in our lifetime.
We got a queen for a very long time. So there's that. In fact, so long that now both the UK and Canada have to quickly figure out what to do with their money because they all have Queen Elizabeth on them.
Yes.
So that's going to be an interesting story to follow as we go on with this.
I say that they keep it going until King Charles is gone because he's 90. He's 79.
Old. Yeah, he's getting there too.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see.
Don't switch it just yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So that is the big news culturally this week.
But Queen since 1952.
And yes, this is where also we should say not the best person to celebrate in her death. Yes, of course, big deal that a queen died. However, she did have a hand in a lot of the colonialism that happened in that era. She's been queen so long, yes, that she did have a personal hand in a lot of that. And so, yes, there are probably a lot of countries that were subjugate to the British Empire / royal, like the British countries.
Look at you, Hong Kong.
Yeah, or Ireland. That are pretty happy, or not happy, but you know what I mean. That are feeling a little bit indifferent about the news. And so, keep that in mind. Not the greatest person in the world, but hey, that's politics. That's everything. That's the world that we live in. Not everybody's going to be perfect, especially world leaders. A complicated woman and a complicated story, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the movie section here. Our last section of the
real
day.
Briefly, The Crown, based off Queen Elizabeth, stopped shooting.
Yes.
They're currently in the middle of filming their upcoming season. They're officially on hiatus until after Queen Elizabeth's funeral.
Right.
The upcoming season is supposed to go up through into Princess Diana and then the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Unsure currently if Netflix will give them a final season, which will run through 2000, probably up to her death.
Maybe. Yeah. We'll see.
I would, if they did, I think it might be the most watched show.
That would be interesting. Timing.
Timing.
We'll see.
So we'll see what they do, where they decide to go from there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right, let's move on to movies. And our first big thing to talk about in movies is the weekend box office numbers. And oh boy, what a weird week when a movie that's been out for literal months comes back to your number one spot.
Please note that this was indeed Labor Day.
Yeah, somehow.
Week. So not a whole lot of people went to the movies for Labor Day.
I guess International Cinema Day or National Cinema Day did not work as planned.
I mean, it kind of did for a film, but we'll get there.
Yeah, so what you have instead is a shambling mass of 5 movies that are old. Top Gun Maverick was your number one movie, inexplicably, with only $6 million. That did, however, bring its total domestic up to 700, which is, boy. Number 2, Bullet Train with 5.7, right under there, with 86 million for its domestic total. Number 3, as you mentioned, coming back to the top 5, Resurrected, Spider-Man No Way Home, $5.4 million.
This is the extended edition.
Yes.
That was only in this weekend.
Yeah.
So it got some extra clips and a new ending, a new post-credit scene at $5.4 million.
Yes. DC League of Super Pets is your number 4 with another $5 million. That's at even 80. And rounding out your top 5, The Incantation with $4.8 million, adding to a 13 million total. Your weekly watch of Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul made 1.4 million.
This is not your weekly watch. That was your new release.
That was your debut. Okay. Good one that was last week, but whatever. $1.4 million debut then. Upcoming this week, we have 4 movies. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, 4 movies.
The Woman King.
Yes.
I was hoping you knew what that was.
That's right. That's right. That's what it's called. The Woman King.
What is The Woman King?
This is the why it's not Regina King. It's Viola Davis.
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis film.
Okay.
Led film of, I think it's an African tribe.
Okay.
But yeah, this one looks badass.
Okay.
Might check this one out.
Cool. Pearl.
This is A24 horror film. Pearl.
Okay. Running the Bases.
This is baseball.
That makes sense.
I want to say it deals with Mexico and Little League.
Okay.
But yeah, this is your baseball film now that baseball season is ending.
Yeah. And then God's Country.
This is not the Blake Shelton based film. No. This is something completely different.
Okay. Well, good to know. Let's move on out of new releases and into our big news stories for the week. And as we hinted earlier, our first story takes us to the Venice Film Festival, which, of course, is the unofficial starting point of the Oscar race. So award season starts already. Venice's 79th
Tandy
edition.
Newton and Gospel.
Oh, right.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Thriller. All right. Anyway, Venice's 79th Film Festival has opened with Toronto International Film Festival and Telluride Film Festival coming shortly after.
Yep. Starting on Monday.
Yeah.
Well, Monday.
In the past, Best Picture winners like Coda, Nomadland, In the Shape of Water, and Birdman all had their first screenings at the Venice Film Festival. This year is no different. With the Noah Baumbach dark comedy White Noise, starring Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig, Darren Aronofsky's The Whale, starring Brendan Fraser, Martin McDonough's The Banshees of Inisherin, starring Colin Farrell and Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu's and Alejandro Gonzalez
starring Colin Farrell.
Yeah, starring and Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu's mystical drama Bardo. Among the anticipated films are Tar with Cate Blanchett, Blonde with Ana de Armas, which is the Marilyn Monroe biopic.
Yes.
The Eternal Daughter with Tilda Swinton, and Don't Worry Darling with Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, which we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Awards will be handed out today as of this recording.
Yes. Of note, Tar is getting rave reviews. Currently 100% everywhere I've seen, nothing below a 90. Blonde got a 14-minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
People are praising Brendan Fraser in The Whale.
I saw he also got a standing ovation.
And got a standing ovation, brought him to tears. And then Adam Driver in Noah Baumbach because they are now best buds from some reason.
Apparently, yeah.
Ever since Marriage Story.
And Greta is there as well.
Yes.
The early maybe Oscar buzz for Brendan Fraser, his grand return back to the movie industry.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it.
We'll see if it's able to keep and hold steam.
Yeah, we'll see as award season continues. Let's move on to our second story, one we've also been talking about throughout the show here. D23 happened, and we have all sorts of Disney news about upcoming projects. We start with the reveal of Hocus Pocus 2, a streaming sequel on Disney Plus to, of course, the Hocus Pocus film from the 90s. That will premiere on September 30th.
Yes, so these first films are all Disney Plus films.
Yes. Disenchanted, not to be confused with Disenchantment, the Matt Groening series. Disenchanted, the sequel to Enchanted, will be streaming on Disney Plus on November 24th. We also have a streaming film, Peter Pan and Wendy, of course, from the Peter Pan film, streaming in 2023. Disney Pictures, the theatrical release department here, has revealed that the Lion King prequel Mufasa will come in 2024. So Snow White film with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot will be coming in 2024 as well. We have our first footage of the Little Mermaid live action film with Halle Bailey coming May 26, 2023. I thought that footage looked good.
Yeah, the first trailer is currently out. It looks good.
I like, which is not something I've ever said about the live action Disney films. So hey, that's a first. Meanwhile, America Ferrera and Jonas Kiebreb are going to be starring in a new film, Elio, coming 2024.
That is a new Pixar film.
Pixar, okay.
about a child who is abducted by aliens and mistakenly given the title of ambassador to Earth.
Ah, interesting. They announced a sequel to one of my favorite Pixar films, Inside Out. Inside Out 2 coming summer 2024. However, some news dropped around the same time that a couple of actors from the first one will not be returning, including Mindy Kaling. I forget who the other one was, but yes, a couple of people will not be returning to reprise their characters.
But they did say that this will be now a teenaged version,
yes,
grown up
of Riley, the character from the first one. That's exciting. I would love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Animation revealed IWAJU.
Iwaju.
Sorry, I thought it was an acronym because it was in all caps.
Well, I'm missing some like italicized, and not italicized, but some like additional markings.
Which is a love letter to Lagos, Nigeria, in collaboration with an outside studio, Kugali.
This is the first time that Disney Animation has collaborated with an outside studio on an animated film.
Neat. Strange World with Lucy Liu, Dennis Quaid, and Jake Gyllenhaal will be coming November 24th this year, 2022. New animated film Wish will come in 2023 and will celebrate the studio's 100th anniversary. Yes, Disney is that old, starring Ariana DeBose.
Yes, this is different from the reports of people not understanding what they mean by 100th.
Yeah.
Because there were lots of tweets saying that Disney's 100th film, Wish. No, this is 100 years of Disney.
Yes.
Wish.
You can see that updated 100 years logo in the footage of The Little Mermaid that we mentioned. Yes. That was the first time I had seen it. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, that's happening. All right.
Yep.
Cool.
And Wish will be about the quote-unquote definitive origin story of the wishing star.
Aha.
As seen in multiple Disney films.
When you wish. Yeah, etc.
Yes.
Okay, now we turn it to you as you are our man on the street here with the Marvel / Star Wars presentations that have just wrapped up.
Literally, they have just wrapped up. So,
all right, breaking news.
So, literally breaking news. These are literal hot takes as we're going through. I'm trying to find a good source of.
All right.
Going through. So, Marvel Studios had their presentation at D23, where they showcased Wakanda Forever. The sequel for Black Panther.
We are merely months away from this.
Yep. Still no signs of who will be the new Black Panther.
Okay.
But do expect this second trailer and probably final trailer to be online soon, as the movie will release in November.
All right, we'll see.
They also showed off Ironheart exclusive footage. This will follow up based off a character coming out of that Wakanda Forever film, Riri Williams, and we'll have our own show. This is currently filming. This is already known.
Right.
Also known, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yes.
It will be a direct line into the rest of Phase 5, including the Avengers Kang Dynasty, which will be at the end, in the middle of Phase 6. And I think that's.
That was it for Marvel.
That was it for Marvel?
I guess so. That's it. Well, I mean, they did their big blowout earlier in the year.
Well, see, a lot of people were speculating that Deadpool would be announced.
Guess not.
Guess not.
Screw those people.
Yep.
I imagine that's still caught in trying to figure out what they're going to do with the Fox stuff as it pertains to Marvel.
Maybe.
Because otherwise we would probably hear something about like Fantastic Four or X-Men.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
People all that stuff.
All the speculation of like Fantastic Four,
X-Men,
still waiting.
And next year.
Yep. So now we tail dove into Star Wars, and
tail dove.
Yeah, tail dove.
Never heard that before.
Right into the new trailer for season 3 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Following Mando Fett's return.
Yeah, right.
In the Book of Boba Mando. Yep. Season 3 will arrive in 2023. No confirmed date yet, but probably early 2023.
Oh no! And they brought back Rise of Skywalker's own Babu Frick.
Oh, why?
like the only thing that anybody remembers about that movie.
Why though? But like he dies at the end of that, so it's a prequel to that. Him dying.
I'd rather see Porgs.
More Porgs.
I love Porgs.
Give me Porgs.
Give me Porgs.
We also have the first official trailer for Andor, which can also be seen on Disney Plus because Disney Plus Day happened.
That's about right.
We also got the second season of The Bad Batch.
Oh yeah,
which is the animated rogue troopers, stormtroopers, taking place between episodes 3 and episodes 4.
Okay.
I really liked season 1 with what they were doing. This will come back January 4th, 2023.
I mean, it seems like all Star Wars fans love the Filoni stuff. So anything that he touches, I'm sure that they're.
Well, this is animated Filoni, not live action.
Yeah, Filoni. I know, but he was the animated guy before he was the live action guy.
Yes. And this season, Bad Batch Season 2, will be 16 episodes in total.
Okay.
We also have Tales of the Jedi, a new animated Star Wars.
Speaking of.
Yep. Which will consist of 6 shorts, with 3 of them focusing on Ahsoka Tano, and 3 of them focusing on Count Dooku.
Yeah.
And that will be next month on October 26th.
Okay.
Speaking of Ahsoka.
Yes.
We know that her own film is in pre-production. But they did show some new images from the show.
Yeah.
Which John Favreau is calling it Filoni's magnum opus.
Wow. Okay. All right. No way to hype it up, I guess.
I mean, that's one way to hype it up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. There's also a new Star Wars series called Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
Set in the era of the High Republic. Directed by John Watts. So this was that John Watts project.
Oh, well, now we know.
That he left the Fantastic Four for.
Yes, to do this. Interesting.
Called Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
And lo and behold.
Oh, boy.
Indiana Jones 5.
Well, we know that this was happening. We just keep getting little bits and pieces of news.
Yep.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah. What?
Sure, why not? So there was some exclusive footage, unfortunately, that only the people at the show got to see.
Yes. And they're not calling it Indiana Jones 5. They're just calling it Indiana Jones.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I guess it is the only movie that will be called that.
Yes, because the first one's called Temple of Doom.
Right. No, the first one is called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes. And then Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Willow for Disney Plus coming November 30th.
Okay.
Starring Warwick Davis. And that is it.
And that's it. So, yeah, a smattering of stuff. It seems like, the Marvel stuff, they seem to have done their most important stuff at Comic-Con, so they didn't really need to do a whole lot here. They just confirmed a lot of stuff we knew about. But the Star Wars stuff, that should have been exciting for Star Wars fans. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff coming.
That's a lot of Star Wars stuff.
And all coming very soon, too, so that's exciting. All right, cool. Well, with that...
Yep. By the way, all the trailers are available online right now.
So yeah, look up any of that if you want to know more information, if you want to look at footage of all that stuff. But in the meantime, let's wrap this podcast up because we're going pretty long this week. Let's talk about a movie that you watched on Disney Plus.
Yes, with Disney Plus came the arrival of 2 films.
Yes.
First one being Thor: Love and Thunder, which if you haven't seen in theaters, you can now watch on Disney Plus. The second one being Pinocchio.
All right.
The Tom Hanks
yes.
Geppetto Pinocchio.
Yeah, which is a weird sentence.
It is a weird sentence, especially since most of Pinocchio can really be CG because you got the puppet, the cricket, the fox and the cat, and then
giant whale,
all CG.
Okay.
Yeah. So it. Okay.
You seem like you have no idea where to even start with Pinocchio.
Because I want to start with the big bone that's been picking at me since I started watching this thing.
Okay.
And that is that in the very opening scene.
Yes.
So Pinocchio 2022 very, very closely follows that of Pinocchio
1940.
Yeah. Like almost at times shot for shot.
Okay.
It's literally that close. But one of the opening scenes is the cuckoo clocks.
Yeah, yes.
Except the cuckoo clocks are all referencing other Disney films.
Oh, no. Okay.
So when it does the cuckoo clocks, they all strike 8 o'clock. You have references to Snow White, references to Sleeping Beauty,
Mm-hmm.
references to. I'm pausing for dramatic effect.
Okay.
Roger Rabbit.
Sure.
And Jessica Rabbit.
Sure. Okay. What?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And that right there pulls me out of your film.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that is a nice reference there. And you're referencing like other Disney films in there, like Peter Pan and other stuff. But this is Geppetto.
How would you know about it?
In like 1800s Italy, making wood carvings of a cuckoo clock of stuff that will happen 100 years from then.
Yeah. I think that you're already giving it more thought than anyone else should.
Well, I'll give it even more thought. There's a line where they can't say hell.
Okay.
So they say HE double hockey sticks.
Has hockey been invented yet?
That's what I asked.
Maybe
has hockey been invented
somewhere
yet?
in Canada? Are they playing hockey right now?
And has that news traveled all the way around to where Jiminy Cricket can make this statement?
I don't know.
Of being in HE double hockey sticks.
Again, I think you're already thinking way more than anybody who wrote this did. How's the movie though? How much love do you have for the original Pinocchio? Is it something that you watched on tape a lot as a kid?
Yes, because I had all the tapes for it.
We did too.
Also something that I didn't watch a whole lot of because Monstro was terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing about Pinocchio. It's actually kind of scary.
Oh, the other thing about Pinocchio is that he only his nose only grows in one scene.
Yeah, no, it's been it's a little bit exaggerated.
Yeah, for those who have not seen it in a long time, go back and watch the original cartoon version.
Yeah.
Everyone associates Pinocchio with the nose growing because he tells lies.
Yeah, it's like one gag.
But that's one scene.
Yeah.
That's one instance of that happening.
The lies of P.
Yes. See the lies of P for more lies.
But that's the thing. Is that so? How does this movie deal with some of the scarier stuff in the original? Does it lean into it, or does it sanitize it a bit? Because as you mentioned, Monstro, terrifying. Also terrifying. Those transformation scenes where their kids turn into the donkeys. Terrifying!
Yes, terrifying as well. A lot of Animorphs visuals going on in which some of the CG doesn't look very completed. I also try and hide a lot of the cuts and edits in that too by showing shadow versions, which is what the cartoon version did. But we're in CG world here. Come on.
So does it seem to replicate a lot of those moments?
It does replicate a lot of those moments, but it's also a lot longer. And the way they make it longer is by adding not just new characters, mainly a sidekick with Stromboli.
Okay. Sure.
Who also works as a marionette person, but also adds a lot of new musical numbers to this.
Oh boy.
And yes, Tom Hanks does sing?
Okay, so this. Here's my question. I'm already kind of guessing I know the answer to this, judging by the tone that you're taking when you're describing this. So when we talked about, actually recently on our March Madness bracket for the Disney songs.
When You Wish Upon a Star?
No, I wasn't going to go there. I was going to talk about, when we talked about the live action adaptations of The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, we mentioned that a lot of the unnecessary stuff got piled on top that didn't need to happen. So when it was a 72-minute story, it gets basically blown up to an hour and a half plus.
Yes.
So again, judging by your tone, it doesn't seem like any of this is super necessary, and it just feels like it bogs down the experience.
It's hard to say if it's super necessary, but more that it's necessary for a film in today's world.
Is it though? If it's a streaming release, do you have to be longer than an hour and 45 minutes? No, you can make it whatever length you want.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff that just happens in like the film of Pinocchio, like Pinocchio in the animated film never actually makes it to school.
Right, no.
He does in this film.
Okay.
He actually makes it to the schoolyard.
But is it a Beauty and the Beast thing, which is, does it over-explain things that don't need to be over-explained? Do we need to know about Beast's daddy problems? Same thing here. Do we need Pinocchio to get to school? Is it necessary for the story?
That's
the question.
Yeah. That's where you kind of get back and forth.
Is it just filler to be filler?
Is it filler? Is it necessary if you're adding stuff? Some of it is yes, like especially the new character with Stromboli.
Okay.
But other stuff not really. Like, especially the musical number going through Paradise Pier. Not necessary.
Paradise Pier.
That's what it's called.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah.
Wait. That's not from the original movie.
That's what it's called.
You mean Pleasure Island, right? Wait, did they rename it? Have they retired Pleasure Island? Because Paradise Pier is the place in California Adventure. Adventure. Yeah, that's what it's called. California Adventure, right?
I think it's called
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island.
Yeah. What? Hold on. I'm confused. You mean Pleasure Island, right?
I might mean Pleasure Island.
You got it wrong.
I might have got it wrong.
Okay, because Paradise Pier is the hotel at California Adventure Park.
I might have gotten that wrong.
Also, Pleasure Island was also the name of
Pleasure Island.
It was also the name of the bars and stuff at Disney World until they renamed it later.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Paradise Pier. That's funny. Anyways. Anything else you need to say about Pinocchio? Like, do you recommend it? Like,
no.
Do you think it's good? Like,
well, I don't really recommend the first one either.
Yes, I do. I mean, the animation by itself is enough to warrant to watching it because it's the best animation that it was and ever will be. It will never get better than that.
All right, sure.
But yeah, did they need to do this? Like, who is this for? I mean, again, I think what we're doing is we're retreading the same conversation we had about Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King.
Yeah, it's not for us. It's for the kids. It's for the new kids to have a new generation growing up with this.
Yeah.
That's who it's for.
Yeah, okay.
It's not for us who watched the VHS and wore those tapes down.
Right, exactly. So there you go. That's Pinocchio on Disney+.
It exists. It's there. You can watch it.
Watch it if you want.
Kids. You may need to provide context of what's going on.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay,
well, there you go. That wraps it up. I certainly didn't watch any movies this week.
All right, well, we're over anyways.
Yeah, we went along, so that'll wrap it up. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, Emmys, Monday night. So next week, we will recap those winners for you. In the meantime, we're kind of holding period as fall shows start to premiere. So we will have more on those as we go on through the fall season.
So not this Monday, but the following Monday. The 19th is when new shows will return.
But in the meantime, hey, stay tuned to us. If you need something to watch, we're here every week. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to YouTube, search Media Boat Podcast, and you can find our page. Like, subscribe to our channel, click notifications for when we go live like we typically do on Saturday mornings right here. You can also find us in audio podcast form if you search your podcast service of choice with Media Boat Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, search our name and you will find us. You can find us on the internet on MediaBoatPodcast.com. You can find us on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. You can find us on Facebook by searching Media Boat Podcast and finding our page. Like, comment, give us reviews, whatever you want to do on any of those platforms. We're happy for it. And if you want to ask us questions, give us feedback, anything, we'll read your question on the air if you email us at MediaBoatPodcast@gmail.com. That'll do it for now. We'll be back next week with more news, Emmy recap, more thoughts, everything we've got for you, and all the media things we talk about. So stay tuned, and we'll be back next time.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Long-winded show today.
And bye.
All right, bye. Long-winded show.
Whew, good thing. I get to